Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George, or all George. In this video, I want to give you guys an update on what's going on with Bitcoin and crypto. We're starting to see some green, so does that mean we're going to see some explosive movement this weekend? Well, I want to discuss that really quick and also play clips or parts of the interview I just had with Crypto Jebb. Now, you may not be familiar with Crypto Jebb, but he has been in this space for quite a long time, and he has some interesting perspectives about Bitcoin and crypto, and we had a pretty good chat this afternoon. However, I thought he would have posted an entire interview already. He plans on doing so next week. So I'm just going to play a couple of clips from this interview, one that talks about all the media FUD that's out there and why we need to ignore it. And also, we did talk about how someone should react or how they should feel or what they should do had they bought Bitcoin towards the top. The late bloomers, the ones that came in end of 2021 and they may be down, right? I think both topics are very relevant for a lot of you guys watching this. So I'm going to pre-play these clips, but make sure you subscribe to Crypto Jebb so that you can watch the entire interview next week. First, let's talk about Bitcoin. It is at 37.5, which is a little bit better than this morning. In fact, we had Bitcoin go all the way to 38,000 before coming back down a little bit. So this is definitely very encouraging. And if you look at the US equities market, well, this explains it. The Dow closed at plus 564 and NASDAQ closed at plus 417, 3.13%. Now, what caused this? It seems like Apple did. Apple had a terrific quarterly earnings report, and it's making many people on Wall Street rethink their strategy about tech, big tech, and what they should be holding on to in 2022. Because many expected that big tech to be faltering, and many have sold off tech. Many have sold off a lot of high growth risk on assets because they're afraid the gravy train may be over. But Apple disproved that. Microsoft also disproved it. So it does seem like some of the traders are flocking back in. And it's looking like that's what's happening with crypto, which is why Bitcoin seems to be slowly recovering. And a lot of the altcoins, a lot of the L1s and crypto projects are starting to come up. Bitcoin dominance has fallen a few percentage points, and global market cap is up about 3%, and this is definitely encouraging. We know that we have been down for quite some time, and to see some greens are fantastic, and this could definitely carry into this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And of course, I'll let you guys know how things are with my stream tomorrow morning. But right now, it's looking much better. With that said, watch these interview clips and enjoy your night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
We've got Jerome Powell coming out saying that, okay, we basically have no idea what we're doing. At least we have no plan at the moment. We're going to come back to you in March. That's pretty much what he said. Like, okay,
Right.
we don't know what we're going to do with interest rates. We don't know what we're going to do with QE. We don't know what we're going to do with the federal funds rate. That's pretty much the gist that I got from it. And then we also have this America Competes Act coming out. A lot of people talking about that in crypto. Like I said, I think Charles is the one that really got the ball rolling on that. And now we've also got this issue that we just spoke about with, anonymous insider sources close to the White House. I always love when somebody's close to the White House. It's like guys walking down the street. He's like, "Oh, I just came up with something. I'm close to the White House. I'll tell the media." How much fear, uncertainty, and doubt do you think articles and stories like this are adding into cryptocurrency? And how big of an impact do you think news stories like this are having
I think
on the price?
I think they're having major impact right now, especially because Bitcoin is under 40,000. If we were at 60,000 or 50,000, I think people would react better. But right now, it's causing the fear. I think the reason why Bitcoin is not going up partially is because there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines and they're worried about all these things. And there's geopolitical stuff like Ukraine and Russia and US, right? Stuff like that. But this is all happening like right now, right? Like all within a matter of a month since December to now. It's all coming up, and you can't.
Well, it's scaring
it's
the
hard
stock
to
market
ignore.
too. Yeah, it's scaring the stock market too. The stock market's gone to a giant dip.
Yeah, I mean, psychologically, I think everyone likes to think that they're really strong-willed, mentally tough, and they could get through anything. But it's one thing to think that when your portfolio is doing fine. It's another when it's down 50%. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's very true. And that actually is a perfect segue into one of the final questions I want to ask you here, George. Let's pivot away from geopolitics and the financial markets a little bit more towards, what people are struggling with right now. You talked about being, down 50%. I want to ask you, what are some of the things that people can do, not even so much trading strategy wise, although I definitely tell us about that if you'd like, but as far as mentally, to be able to hold on and not lose confidence in the cryptocurrency market when, let's say, Bitcoin's at $37,000 when we're recording this, and they bought at 65,000, 69,000, 52,000, 54,000. What would you tell somebody that's a hodler right now and they bought really high and they're very, very down?
This is tough because I have to remember that not everyone has been through crypto winter. Like you and I and many other people have been through it, and we've been through much worse, right? And so we re-emphasize the fact that we have been through it, we have seen it, and we have come up and we have formed new highs. But for new people coming in, they haven't lived through it. And ultimately, we're just a couple of guys on YouTube, right? So why should they listen to us? Why should they care what we say? I always have to remind myself that when I'm streaming, because, especially someone that bought at 65, 69, they're like, it's at 37. How can I believe anything, anything that you say? You could say all these things, but how is it true, right? So that's why I have to back what I say with facts. And these days, there's so much analytics out there, so much metrics that measure pretty much everything that can be measurable when it comes to Bitcoin and the network and users and the growth and the purchases, the supply. I mean, literally everything is measurable, and we have so many tools out there now that does that. So what I try to do is I'm like, hey, look at what's happening right now. So there's a couple things I like to really emphasize right now. Number one is the reserves on exchanges. People don't quite understand that Bitcoin is scarce and there's only a certain amount. And as we get closer and closer to getting to the last Bitcoin being mined, scarcity is definitely an important thing. That's what drives prices up. And what we're seeing right now is the fluctuation is based on the trades on the exchanges. But what people don't realize is that's a very small amount. That's only 16% of the supply that's on the exchanges right now. What about the 84%? Well, they're being held in cold wallets, and they're being held with custodians, and they're not being traded. So everything that we're basing off of is the 16% that's on exchanges. But here's the kicker: that 16% is decreasing. It used to be 20%, then 19, 18, 16. Eventually, as more and more is removed from exchanges, well, that's going to cause the supply to drop even more. And of course, demand, if it's still there, even if demand doesn't go up, even if demand just stays the same, it's going to cause a price hike just from that alone. And why is that happening? Well, that's where you got to kind of educate the users like, hey, the reason why the reserves are dropping is because someone is buying, or many people are buying, and they're just removing it from the exchanges. They're utilizing the low prices. So they take it and then they pretty much store it away, right? So that's one metric that I love to show people. And it kind of confuses people because they're like, that doesn't make any sense. If so many people are buying, why does the price go down then? It should cause the price to go up, but they don't understand that this is based on a very small percentage of Bitcoin that's on exchanges. And if you look at another metric that complements this, which is the liquid supply, the liquid supply is basically all the exchanges, all the reserves of Bitcoin that's not on exchanges, and that keeps going up. It keeps going up. Despite the fact that we have fallen 50%, that did not dip at all. So the number of people that are holding, the number of people are buying, and this includes also the miners, which now have a new strategy where basically they don't sell anything. They're just keeping everything. So these are the metrics that I like to point out to newcomers and say, hey, you know what? This is the reason why Bitcoin will continue back up. Don't take my word for it. Look at the data, right? Look at what's really happening behind the scenes with the supply. And they're going away. They're going away fast. And then you complement this with many other things like network health. You know, how many addresses are there? Are they going up? Is the hash rate for the network going up? Are the miners continuing to mine Bitcoin? And you add all this together, then you only come to one conclusion, that Bitcoin will recover and will continue forward. It just may take a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I think patience is key. I've said a lot recently, patience tested is patience built. So if you're new to the cryptocurrency space and your patience is being tested, just know this is how your patience gets built. George and I have been through the same thing. George, I think you were in the space during 2018 during the bear market, were you?
Mm-hmm.
You are? Yeah, I got in mid 2017. I was through all of that. I started the YouTube channel. I was trying to build the YouTube channel, and then a bear market hit, and I'm like, crap. So I had about a year of patience being tested, and I learned a lot there. And I just encourage you that if you're new to cryptocurrency, remember that patience tested is patience built. And also remember that price is downstream of fundamentals. As the fundamentals grow, the price follows. It's that simple. It just takes time. It doesn't happen on the scale of a day or 3 days or a week or a month. It takes place on the order of years. But as those fundamentals continue to develop, so too the price will follow.